Welcome to the Motorhome Matt podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
I ask the stupid questions and he...
Well, I do my best. Try and answer them.
And remember, there is no such thing as a stupid question.
No, only the one you don't ask.
Particularly if you're asking it. And more about that a little bit later on. It's all brought to you with thatleisureshop.com.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you would like and subscribe on your favourite podcast app, we would love that. And go and watch YouTube and subscribe there too. Sponsored by aerobasecreative.co.uk.
And in this week's episode, we're travelling in winter. How is it different?
It was cold. Put on a coat.
First of all, let's dive in, shall we, to your product of the week with thatleisureshop.com. What have you got this week?
A big box. This is a Falcon Smart TV. We love this. Keith's gone. I'm holding the box in front of me, mate. Sorry. This is their 22-inch TV. They do a 19-inch TV. For those not watching on YouTube, we're holding up a TV in a box. And Keith's being very silly with it. These TVs are great because they are capable of picking up terrestrial TV, so standard TV off an aerial, satellite television. They've got a satellite decoder in, smart TV, so you can stream Netflix and BBC iPlayer over the internet, and what Falcon call their Plan D, which is a DVD player. One of the things I've always observed is that modern smart televisions have dropped the DVD player from their spec, and this has a DVD player inside. So you can't see it on the box, but it's great. They're really good, and they're really competitively priced as well. Great Christmas gift idea, I think.
Fantastic. What's the difference between a TV in a motorhome or a caravan and your normal TV?
Great question, actually. Viewing angle will be number one. So the fact that these have a 179-degree viewing angle, you're not always sat right in front of the television in a motorhome because of the nature of the space, unlike you know in your lounge at home. And so if you're sat sort of on the side of the television, it can ghost. But these have a really wide viewing angle, and so they really are built for the job. And, of course, they're 12-volt. And 240 volts, so you can run them off the leisure battery.
Sounds good to me. That's the Falcon TV with its Plan D. And remember, it's true, actually. I remember from the NEC, the big show, that Falcon were talking about, you know, maybe you haven't hooked up or you're in a funny place and you can't get a signal or you're not fannying around with your satellite dish or whatever. Sticking a DVD in for the kids is the thing to do.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's dead easy.
We've had lots of times where we cannot get a signal because we're in a valley under a tree. There's just no Wi-Fi connectivity. Yeah. So you know what? That Plan D is the answer. Get the DVD box set out and go and watch something on a disc.
What sort of price are we looking at?
They retail at $319, but they're on special offer as we go to Christmas, so go and have a look.
And are they 12-volt versions at all?
These are all 12-volt and 240-volt, yeah.
Fantastic.
You can mount them on a wall bracket or sit them on a tabletop.
Brilliant. Okay, then, we're talking winter, and make sure you have the best entertainment for rainy days. It's either the television or it's cards with grandma.
Well, absolutely.
Gin mummy.
Not everyone wants to watch telly in the van. I get that. We hardly ever watch ours, I have to say. In fact, interestingly, when we do, we're often watching a DVD. Jude will go through the DVDs, go, I've seen this for years, and she'll take it with us when we're in the motorhome, and we'll sit and watch it in bed early in the morning or late at night. But yeah, pack of cards. Make sure if you're travelling in winter, the nights are going to be coming in earlier, so you're going to be sat in the van for longer. So take some board games. Get the playing cards out. Dare to get the Monopoly box out of the cupboard under the stairs if you dare to play it. Causes too many rows in our house.
Yeah, it's a long game, though. It's a long game, Monopoly. I do like a game of Monopoly. It's the Motorhome Matt podcast with me, Keith Gooden.
And me, Motorhome Matt.
And it's brought to you with thatleisureshop.com. The main part of our podcast this week is travelling in winter. Yeah. How is it different to that spring and summer bosky purlieus that you were driving through? And now you're in the middle of winter and things look sparse. But you want to get out, don't you? You want to travel. You want to see things. I tell you what, an icy landscape is a beautiful landscape.
It is a beautiful landscape. Can I just ask what you're drinking?
An icy toilet, however, is not beautiful.
No, let's not go with toilets. The main thing I say is preparing for it. So the roads are going to be different. They're going to be wet. They could be icy. Winter means harsher weather, so it can mean high winds. Certainly darker mornings, darker nights. So it's about preparing the vehicle.
You're not selling this to me, by the way.
Beautiful sunsets, clean, crisp air. We go away in our van at winter. It's brilliant. The campsites are always quiet or closed.
Keep driving, darling. Keep driving.
Keep going. Next one. We always book in winter, I have to say, to make sure that we can find somewhere to stop. But we've stopped in some amazing places like Park for Night spaces or a pub car park. Brilliant. Around bonfire night, go and do the bonfire in the pub, out to the motorhome at the back. Spend the night there in the pub car park. But it's about preparing. So what we wanted to unpack is all the stuff that probably seems a bit like common sense, but you know what? It's often good to be reminded. So stuff like packing an extra blanket, some snacks, a warning light. So take a warning triangle or take a beacon. We've talked before about V16 flashing beacons in case something goes wrong. And a beacon like that at night is going to be really, really useful. And bear in mind, 4 o'clock, it can already be really dark. So make sure you've got appropriate clothing as well in case you do break down and you have to spend a few hours waiting for the recovery service, or 15 hours like I did, and a power pack as well, so you can keep your phone charged if you are stopping out on wild camping, off-grid, or something's gone wrong. So make sure you can keep your phone charged.
So what's a V16?
V16 applies to the beacon that flashes red. It means it complies with an EU directive. It means it can be seen 1 kilometre away. And in Spain, in January 26th, they are going to legally replace the warning triangle. And I expect this to become normal across Europe as we go through over the next few years. So they're a legally accepted alternative now. They're a brilliant complementary item to have with our warning triangle in the UK because they're very, very visible. And they have a magnetic base. So if you're in a car, you can easily just pop it out on the roof and it will just turn on. You haven't got to get out. It's a white torch and a flashing orange or red beacon. Really useful.
And as you've said before about those beacons, you don't have to get out the car to set it off flashing. You can just put your arm out and stick it on the roof. Whereas with the triangle, you've got to tramp half a kilometre down the road in the dark with cars coming at you.
Hence they're being wound up really in favour of these beacons. But of course in a motorhome it's plastic, so there's nowhere to put it. So you can turn them on and then go and place them. So you'd still have to walk to the back of the van to turn it on and place it on the floor behind you.
Stick it on a frying pan.
Yeah, you could stick it on a frying pan.
Yeah, the handle, you could stick that on something as well. You can tell I'm an expert at this sort of thing, can't you? Don't do that. Tyres, let's check the age. Maximum of 5 years on your tyres, is that right?
Yeah, so when did you last check the age of your tyres on your car?
Well, I know they're about 3 years old.
How do you know that?
Because I had them changed.
Okay, but how old are the tyres? So you had them on the car for 3 years, but how old are the tyres?
I don't know. How do I find out?
Exactly. So on the sidewall of the tyre is a little pill-shaped oblong, and in it is 4 numbers. For example, it could be 4417, 4417, which would mean that tyre was manufactured in week 44 of 2017. Oh. Now, when you buy tyres in a shop, you go to the tyre place. We never check the age of our tyres. They're brand new.
I didn't know how.
They could have been sat on the shelf for 2, 3, 4 years, maybe longer. We bought a caravan in part exchange here, and the tyres had, I think it was 1207. This was a few years ago, and the tyres were 13 years old. Based on the pill, the tyres look great, good tread, no cracks, no bulges, but they were really, really old. So the recommendation is that you replace the tyres every 5 years. Some corners of the world say 7, but basically between 5 and 7 years you should change the tyres, even if the tread is great, based on their age.
Right, okay. Mud and snow, M&S.
M&S. So on some tyres, the question often gets posed, should I fit winter tyres for driving in the winter? Motorhomes have motorhome specific tyres. So Continental and Michelin both make a motorhome based tyre, which has a different tread pattern to a normal road tyre, and the sidewalls are thicker, simply because motorhomes weigh more and they spend more time sat around still, not moving like a van would. Van's doing 30, 40,000 miles a year. Motorhome might only do 3,000 or 4,000 miles a year. The M&S bit on the side means it's rated for winter, but it actually means mud and snow, and it's not regulated at all. So a number of tyre manufacturers wanted a regulated tyre. Categorisation was introduced called 3PMSF, which stands for 3-Peak Mountain Snowflake. Did you know that?
Now it all falls into place.
So if you want a genuine winter tyre, look for a little logo, which is a picture of a mountain peak. I think it's got 3 peaks, hence the name, and a snowflake in it. That is a regulated tyre, which means it's been tested properly on snow. In fact, I'm going to read this. We got this from openeo.co.uk. They sell tyres. The advanced ISO test checks the responsiveness of the tyre on snowy and icy surfaces. The tested tyre is compared to a reference model, and a positive result is achieved when its performance is better by 25% than the results of the reference tyre in at least 6 out of 10 test trials.
Fabuloso.
So if you want a genuine winter tyre, look for the 3PM SF. It's a 3-peak mountain snowflake. That has had a legitimate test, whereas one that says M&S just means it's okay for mud and snow.
I'm going to be going out and checking the age of my tyres as well.
Well, the age is the most important bit. And while you're doing that, just look on the inside and outside of the tyre walls, check for cracking, check the treads as well, turn the front wheels and get someone to just drive the car slowly forward and check in the tread for cracks. Your MOT test should pick this up. Sidewalls can crack, especially on a motorhome, because they're just not driven. The sun can cause it, and standing around can cause it. So if the tyre is starting to crack up, it might be time to replace them. But definitely check the age, yeah.
So M&S, mud and snow, S&M, something completely different. Lights and lenses and your fog lights.
So check they work. I know that's an obvious one, but just check your tail lights and fog lights work. We don't use our fog light very often, do we? Are you one of those people that drives along with your fog lights on all the time?
No, never.
You drive a Volvo, your side lights are on all the time.
Yeah, you can't turn my lights off. I can have a different variation of lights, but I can't actually turn them all off at the same time.
That's true. But when did you last check your fog light was working?
I don't have fog lights on the front.
No, on the back.
On the back. Today, when I was going through the rain, coming here,
Yeah.
and there's lots of spray.
You could see it.
And I turned it on, and the light came up on the dashboard. And if it wasn't working, it would give me a little message.
It'd probably say blown bulb, wouldn't
It'd
it?
say, Keith, fog light blown bulb.
Does it say it like that?
It does.
Does it talk to you?
Keith, it says.
But check your light lenses as well, so they can get cloudy. So the number of headlights I've seen that go really cloudy, so your headlight performance is really low. But just it's common sense, I know. But you can clean headlights. Some people say toothpaste. We did an interview on a podcast recently with George Miles from Miles Valetin on how to clean your motorhome, and he talks through how to get the best out of your headlights, making sure they're working nice and bright. I've just had my headlights updated to or upgraded to LED ones. They're MOT compliant. They're brilliant. They're really good at night, especially where we live. And bear in mind as well, sunglasses. So it might not be sunny when you leave, but you're going to be driving in the afternoon. The sun is going to be low in the sky. And that can be really off-putting and actually get you very tired. So sunglasses can be a really useful accessory to take with you. And make sure your windscreen's clean. Clean the inside. So they get really greasy on the inside, don't they? Especially sneezing on it.
They do, spitting, that sort of stuff.
Eating your pot noodle while you're driving.
They do. You think your windscreen is clean, and then you get that low sun, and you realise actually,
it's horrendous.
as you say, the dirt's on the inside, not the outside.
Yeah, that's right. And the worst thing you can do is wipe your windscreen when it's all condensated with your hand or a cloth. Those smears just stay there for ages. So really get a good glass cleaner and give it a good clean before setting off. Another great tip, if your windscreen's frozen or there's going to be a hard frost, park the van or the car pointing toward the sunrise, and the sun will thaw it out for you.
Oh, good tip.
There we are. Someone told me that. A good idea. I thought, what a great idea. Yeah. The other one is wind. So the other thing at this,
wind in a motorhome.
High winds. We got them here tomorrow, haven't we? Wind in a motorhome. Oh dear.
And a confined space.
Every time.
Yeah.
Open the window. Yeah. But yeah, high winds this time of year. We've got 50-mile-an-hour winds here tomorrow. And if you're driving a caravan, you're towing your caravan or driving a motorhome over a bridge, we've got the Severn Bridge nearby. It's regularly shut this time of year, isn't it, with high winds? But it can go very wrong very quickly in high winds. So just be very mindful of that. It's very tempting to drive with a white knuckle. You're gripping the steering wheel so tight, your knuckles are gone white. Don't do it.
Oh, that's what this is about. Stay relaxed and don't grip.
Don't grip.
Oh, I wonder what that was about. And what about your antifreeze? Do we still have antifreeze?
Yeah, of course we do.
Is it a thing?
Of course it is, yeah.
Right.
Get your antifreeze checked if you haven't checked it. You can go to many of these garages, Wholefords and other driving places. They'll check it for free. They put a little pipette in and test that you've got a right level of antifreeze in there, and then charge you a fortune for it if you haven't.
And gas, the best type, and you're going to use some more of it in the winter, aren't you? Because it's darker for longer. You're inside
colder
for more.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the difference between butane and propane. So this is leisure vehicle specific. So butane will freeze above 0 degrees, which is why most motorhomes and caravans have a red bottle on it, which is propane, because it doesn't freeze until you get down to minus 28. So make sure if you have got blue bottles on, it's worth changing them. Change the regulator as well, the bit that connects to the bottle, and so you can use a propane bottle. Otherwise, it's just not going to work.
And winterization of your water tanks, what does that mean?
Yeah, so driving along, if your water tanks are under the van or even parked up, then they're going to freeze if they're not insulated. So a lot of British motorhomes have an external freshwater, certainly wastewater tank, and thus the pipes, and they're very prone to freezing, so they just don't work in the winter. European-built motorhomes tend to have the freshwater tank inside the motorhome and often the waste tank inside the motorhome, or the waste tank is heated. There's a little slider which blue and red is warm up the waste tank, and it takes heating or heat rather from your heating system, or if you've got an alder heating system, the tank might have a blanket around it, and it will warm your wastewater to stop it freezing if that tank is outside the motorhome. So it's being mindful that your water pipes or even your water tanks can freeze when you're driving along or when you're parked up.
Warm your wastewater. Okay, your heating as well, because it's winter, as I said before, you're going to be spending a bit more time in the caravan or the motorhome, and, they're not the thickest walls in the world, and if it's cold, it's cold.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you're in a panel van, then certainly that's the case, because they often don't have any insulation at all. I was talking to someone about this recently, and they said, why don't the back doors of our van have any insulation inside? I said, easy, because they condensate, and if it had loads of insulation, it would gather the water and absorb it, and then it would very slowly drain and hold in the bottom of the door, causing the door to rust. So that's often why a panel van doesn't have any insulation in it, so the water can escape and condensation doesn't form. But check your heating's up to the job. I'd test it before you go away. Nothing worse than being away and you've got no heating at all. I mean, that would be horrible. Then the temptation is to run the hob and heat the van with the hob. I've seen this many times. Really, really bad idea. The amount of carbon monoxide you're putting into that environment is really significant. So if that is your only option, you must be doing it with a window open, but I don't recommend doing it that at all. So test the heating, make sure it's up to the job, and test it a day before you go away. Make sure everything's tickety-boo.
We mentioned this a little bit earlier when we were talking about the Falcon TV, but plenty of entertainment, TVs, your cards, games.
Yeah, absolutely. Just grab the card games out of the cupboard. Dare to grab the Monopoly. If you've got the kids with you, they need to be entertained. And so, get creative and take those games with you that perhaps you haven't played for years. That little box set, the chess, the drafts, remember those?
I do remember those drafts, yes. Booking hard-standing campsites, that's not something that springs immediately to mind, but actually thinking about winter, you don't want to be on grass, really, do you?
No, not at all. You can get stuck. With regard to the campsite, if you're going to go, I'd book before you go to make sure they're open, because lots of campsites do close in the winter, and many will only have their hard standing pitches available because they don't want you driving on the grass, particularly if it's wet. And bear in mind, if you do get stuck in mud, whether it's on a campsite or in a farmer's field or wherever you've driven, it's likely that the breakdown service is going to charge you for pulling you out. We had a hire customer do exactly this, £250 later that we were charged. Which we did ask the hirer to pay for because it was their mistake. So it's not a free recovery service. You haven't broken down, you've got stuck. So they do charge for it.
So that's about it, isn't it, really, for travelling in the winter? So wrap up, bring your entertainment with you, do the checks, and good luck to you. Winter can be a beautiful time of year to be in your motorhome or caravan car.
We love it. The light's great. If you're a photographer, it's a fantastic time to go away and get some brilliant pictures. We go and see the murmurations on Somerset Levels, and we'll go and camp out. We haven't done it this year. I haven't had time. Too busy. Murmuration.
What are they?
When all the starlings are flying around. You never seen it?
Oh, yes, I've seen the starlings.
Thousands of birds flying around before they go to bed. It's incredible. It's called a murmuration.
Didn't know that.
Beautiful. Yeah, lots of places you can go and watch it, and there's often campsites nearby as well. It's brilliant. It's a great time to go away. As I say, campsites, although some are closed, they're often very quiet. And we love it's a great time to walk the dogs, and you get shorter days, but there's nothing cozier than curling up with a blanket and something red in a glass early in the evening.
Right.
And
you are talking about wine, aren't you?
I am talking about wine.
Thanks for that. It's the Motorhome Matt podcast. I'm Keith Goodham.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
And it's brought to you with thatleisureshop.com. It's our Q&A, our questions and answers, where you ask the questions and Matt, he's the expert. He does his best to answer them. He's got 100% record at the moment, though. Andrew Donaldson is in Nuneaton.
Hi Matt, this is Andrew from Leamington. I met you at the show on Saturday. We discussed about the fact I'm looking for a motorhome. The question I have is about the weight restrictions, the 3.5 ton weight restrictions, and the differences between motorhomes of under 3.5 and over 3.5 tons. I'm aware of the driving license restrictions, and I'm of an age that I have the appropriate license to drive the bigger vehicle. My question is, what are the reasons should I be looking at for getting the smaller vehicle or keeping under the 3.5 ton limit? Or is the heavier vehicle just as good an option? Are there any negative things that I should be aware of?
Thanks, Andrew. It's that question again about the weight restrictions, Matt.
It's a new favourite topic.
Yep.
Toilets while camping and weights. Well, the biggest thing is all about payload. So it depends at 3.5 tons, what payload have you got? So what ability to carry a weight do you have? This is the difference between the net weight of the vehicle and the gross weight of the vehicle. So you need to work out your payload, and the only true way to do that is to go and weigh it on a weighbridge. The dealer might not be too happy if you start borrowing the keys and driving it off to do that. But that's the first thing. The other difference is the road tax is a lot cheaper if you're over 3.5 tons. So it's £165 versus £295 if you're 3.5 ton.
There you go, Andrew. Thanks very much for that. Andrew Donaldson in Nuneaton. Susan Longson has also sent us a question.
Hi, Matt. We're just thinking of buying a motorhome. We put a deposit down on it, and the dealer has just informed us that while doing the checks, they found in a spot 25 to 50% water ingress. It's a 2020 model Eldis Encore 250. We have looked at thousands of motorhomes to find our ideal motorhome. We thought we'd actually found it. The dealers have been, really supportive and said that they will, do the repairs and will put it all right and everything. But we're just really scared as to whether we should go ahead and buy it or we should just walk away. Have you got any suggestions? What about water ingress? It's a really new van. At the moment, we've got a 2008 caravan, and there's no water ingress in that. And we're just really surprised that a van 3 years old has got water ingress. We'd love your opinion and advice, Matt. Thank you.
So that's Susan, and she's put a deposit down on a motorhome, and it's proven to be leaky, Matt.
Yeah, it is. What a shame. So first thing, Susan, it's great that the dealer has admitted this. That's a good sign, I would say, that they're of their integrity and the fact they're prepared to put it right. If they've done a habitation check and damp check, ask to see it. And just check there's no other issues as well. They've said they're going to put it right. I would then get them to re-damp check it again once they've done so and inspect the work. There's no reason to pull out if they've made good the repair, and then make sure you get a damp check done, I would say in 6 months. Ask them as part of the purchase if they're prepared to do that, just to keep a close eye on things. But I wouldn't pull out of it. You say that you've looked at thousands of motorhomes to find this one. So if this is the perfect layout, then why not go with it and work with the dealer? It sounds like they want to do the right thing by you. Sadly, it's not uncommon to see a non-European motorhome of this age have water ingress. I've seen them brand new, unregistered, arrive in a forecourt. They've been delivered to us in the past, and they have a damp issue. But bear in mind, they might have been stood around for a year or two. Probably less likely these days, but certainly years ago they would have been. And they're sat in the same spot, so water can form on the roof, and it can wear away the sealant and get into the walls. So it's not terribly uncommon, but it sounds to me like the dealer's going to do the right thing by you.
So you recommend not pulling out of the deal, going ahead with it?
It sounds like they've been on a journey to find this one. So, I know what that's like. It can take years. There's so many layouts and, people can, get really confused. And if this is the perfect motorhome for you, it sounds like the dealer's doing the right thing. So I'd go ahead.
All right, Susan, hope that's some help to you. Andrew and Maria are in Nottinghamshire. Hi, Matt and Keith. Love the show. We're in the process of doing our research before buying our first motorhome. Is there, or could there be, a checklist of questions that are produced that are important to ask when buying from a dealer or privately? A sort of checklist. Any help would be greatly appreciated.
Cool, that's a good idea. That's a big checklist, though. We should produce one. I mean, I know Wandering Bird has produced something, a guide to buying a motorhome. We've done podcasts in the past on choosing a layout, buying from a private person or from a dealer. So there is lots of information out there. I know lots of the magazines as well have produced guides in the past for many years on what to look for. The big thing is layout. I mean, it's a long checklist of things to look for. And although I hate the phrase, it's so true. You don't know what you don't know. And you don't know what to look for if you don't know what to look for. So it's a great question. I think it's something that we should consider pulling together. Different heating types, different layouts, number of seat belts. There's all these great questions which you need to ask of the motorhome you're looking at, and it's understanding your criteria. But really, Google is going to be your friend here, and go and download as many guides and blogs and watch lots of video as well. There's so much YouTube content out there on giving you advice, and come and listen to some of our previous episodes too.
So there you go. Hope that's good for you, Andrew and Marie in Nottinghamshire. If you want to ask Matt a question, all you got to do is log on mhmp.info/ask Matt. That's mhmp.info/ask Matt. That's Motorhome Matt Podcast, MHMP. Did you get that? Yeah, fine.
See what you've done there. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Lots of people love watching this. In fact, we hear stories of people watching it in bed on a Sunday. If that's you, happy Sunday. You can do that. Just go and click the bell and subscribe there. And YouTube is sponsored by aerobasecreative.co.uk.
And of course, you can always share this episode with a friend.